Hi, I'm Jessie the Sleepy Koala, and today I would like to talk about what books I wish to read in December. I've got quite the pile for December. All of this, plus at least one audiobook. I'm not going to get through all of this. I know I'm not. Some of this is going through to January, but at least I have it now to know what I'm going on to soon. The first book is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I have this very pretty copy. This is actually all his Christmas books, I believe, but I'm going to try and aim to just read one of them. I have not read Christmas books ever, or maybe for just a long time. I can't remember any Christmas books that I've read, so I would really like to try and read one this Christmas, and I have this, so this is a great place to start. So I would really like to read A Christmas Carol. I do think that I will prioritize this one, just because it's the season. I want to read it in a timely manner. The next book I want to read is Raybearer by Jordan Ifueko, which I have probably really mispronounced, and I am terribly, terribly sorry for that. This book follows a young girl, Teri, as she goes to compete to become one of the crown princes chosen of 11. However, she is also tasked with killing the prince. So this seems like a very, very interesting book of having two very different competing motivations, and it sounds really interesting. It gives me Hunger Games vibes with the having to compete against other people, but then just the whole assassination plot as well, and having that as a separate plot that goes up against trying to become one of these Council of 11. I don't know anything else about this book except that people really go on about it, and it sounds very interesting, so I would very much like to read it. The next book is Two Boys Kissing by David Levithan. The synopsis of this book is basically that there are a bunch of boys in it, and it's all about their romantic relationships and two boys kissing. I really want to read more romance, and this seemed like a really good read. I think I've heard of it before, but I'm not completely sure. Either way, it's a romance book. I would like to read more romance, and this seemed like a great one to pick up for that. Next up is another romance. This is The Art of French Kissing by Brianna. This sounds like a very fun book. We have our main character, Carter, who is a chef who goes on one of the cooking shows. If she wins, she wins a full ride scholarship to one of the best culinary schools in the country. While she is there is a boy. His name is Reed. They are immediate enemies, and then they are forced to work together. We have the enemies to lovers trope, which I adore, and I just really, really want to read how this goes, because I really like enemies to lovers trope. It is one of my favorite tropes ever, and just reading the synopsis of this book and getting to that part, I'm like, I'm in. I don't really care about the surrounding scenery and what else is happening. I'm here for enemies to lovers, and it just happens to be in a book about cooking and doing the different cooking shows, which are also very fun to watch. So I very much want to read this. It sounds really fun, and I can't wait to experience it. The next book I have is Caraval, which I actually got out from the library back in September, and then never got to it, and then was actually able to re-borrow it like just after I gave it back to the library, which I'm really glad about because I really want to read it. This book is about two sisters who go to this Caraval, which is a game, sort of, but it's a game, but an event, and they have to play the game to try and win a wish, and it just sounds very bizarre and very interesting. I have actually started it, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I think it's very whimsical, which is not something I normally read, so it's a nice change, and I'm pretty invested in the characters. Like I said with the last book, there are some tropes that I love, and this book uses some tropes that I love so much, but I will go through that more in my December wrap-up instead of getting into it here. Either way, I'm very much enjoying the first book, and will definitely look to go on to the next one afterwards. But this is also a book I'm reading in December. Next up, we have The Book of Lies by Teri. This book is two twin sisters who had never met, and they finally do, and they've had very different lives. One of them has had a very good life from the sounds of it, while the other one hasn't. And they have very different conflicting ideas about a lot of things, but they both like the same boy. So it's a love triangle, and I assume this is a romance because of that, but the way that the rest of the synopsis sounds from just the comparison of the two sisters makes me think there's going to be more there, but it sounds very intriguing. I will also be continuing on with the Chobits series. I have not read all of the volumes that I currently have, and I very much would like to keep going. Very interesting sci-fi manga, and I would really like to know more about what happens with the AI Chi and what happened in her background, and to see how her relationship with Hideki goes, and how he deals with the philosophical questions of, can AIs love? Can you love an AI? And see what answers he comes up with out of those, because he's really having a bit of an existential crisis over it. So I do want to keep going with these. I have the next couple of volumes with me, and they are really quick reads, so I should be able to get through those pretty easily. Another book that I'm going to read this month is The Well of Ascension by Brianna and Sanderson. I read the first book in the Mistborn Era 1 trilogy last month in November, and I would like to keep going this month. I love, love, love this trilogy so much. This is, I think, the weakest book out of all three of them. The ending of this book just lifts the whole thing up so well, and I do want to read the earlier story as well. I have a fondness for rereading things, so I think now that I know what the story is going to be about, that it's gonna be really good. And it's not that this book is bad at all, it is really good. So I am really looking forward to rereading this and seeing what happens with our characters and where things go. The last book I'm going to read in November is The Flight Girls by Noelle Salazar. This book is about a bunch of women who are in the Air Force during World War II in America, and they are based in Hawaii. It follows their lives and their loves and their losses, and also what happens when Pearl Harbor is bombed. It's another romance, but this time it's more a historical romance. I have also started this, and it is delightful. I love all of the characters in it so far, and I really get that old-timey feel from the romance that's been happening so far. It very much fits the era that this book is set in. Those are all the books that I want to read in December. I am not reading all of those in December. I just know I'm not getting through all of those. So I think some of the romance ones will end up being pushed back to January, which I'm fine with. Then I can have like a romance January. Start the new year off right. I definitely want to prioritize A Christmas Carol so that I can read something Christmassy at Christmas. I might actually just leave that until the week of Christmas and read it on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. That sounds really fun to me. Thank you for joining me. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!